Today I am unboxing, building, and testing out the new Sovol SV06 Plus Ace 3D printer. I am very excited to get my hands on this printer, so let's see how fast we can get this thing up and running. Will this print perfectly right out of the box? Let's find out. So that's the video that I wanted to make. I was excited to get my hands on the new Sovol SV06 Plus Ace 3D printer. My intentions were to make an open box review based on putting the printer together and creating some new prints. But after spending a few weeks with the printer, am I still excited? Not so much. So instead of an open box review, here is my take on the new SV06 Plus Ace 3D printer after a few weeks of use. So let me just start off the video by acknowledging that I am new-ish to the 3D printing world. I just started with the Bambu A1 and the X1C back in November of last year. When it comes to 3D printing, I feel that Bambu Labs has spoiled those of us who are just brand new into the 3D printing world. Their printers have been great at just plug and play, where you open up the box, you put the printer together, and it basically works from there. However, their lack of plate size has been very underwhelming, especially since I'm trying to 3D print some cosplay masks that fit my not so average size head. While in the past I've had to slice the masks for them to be able to fit on the A1 or the X1C plate, I decided to jump the gun and purchase a bigger printer. So let me talk about some of the reasons why I decided to get this printer. First, the SV06 Plus Ace has a direct drive extruder. That means better control over flexible filaments like TPU and a more reliable extrusion overall. Bed leveling is one of the biggest headaches in 3D printing, but Sovol has included an automatic leveling system to make setup way easier. As mentioned previously, the biggest feature that drew me to this printer is the generous build plate space of 300 by 300 by 350 millimeters, so you can print larger models without having to cut them into smaller parts. This is perfect for helmets, cosplay pieces, and other big functional prints. Next thing I like is this printer comes with an all-metal hot end, meaning it can handle high-temp materials like PETG, ABS, and even some nylon filaments. Unlike cheaper printers that use rollers on aluminum extrusions, the SV06 Plus Ace features linear rails, which provide smoother motion and better accuracy. For all of these features packed into this machine, the price point makes it a strong competitor in the mid-range market, which is currently around $300 on the Sovol website. Other awesome features include vibration compensation, firmware and software open source for those who enjoy more control over their printers, and real-time monitoring that you can do with the Obico app. So as I mentioned previously, the biggest reason why I wanted to purchase the printer was because of the massive plate size. Plus, with all of those other specs that I went over, it seemed that was the perfect printer to get. So a couple of things when I opened up the box to put the printer together, I learned quickly that I had no idea what I was doing. So thankfully, Sovol has a video that I was able to use that instructs how to put their printer together. And I'll make sure to drop that in the description below. After putting the printer together, I was able to plug into the USB that came with the printer and print off a Benchy. But as you can see from these pictures, it wasn't coming out that great. So the very first issue that I had with the printer was that calibration. Figuring out why it was giving me that issue when trying to print just a simple Benchy. After some research, figured out the belts needed tightening. And once I was able to tighten the Y and X axis a little bit to the point where I felt comfortable with that tightness, the print came out great. So simple enough, easy to understand. That's kind of where it goes downhill from there. So let's talk the Obico app. So along with this purchase, I also included a 1-year subscription to the Obico app. And that's the app that they use to monitor and transfer Gcode files and everything from either your computer, from the slicing program, or even from your phone, since they do have an app for that. Setting that up did take a little time just trying to get the right specifications and everything into the slicing software. But eventually, things kind of just worked themselves out, and I was able to get the connection established from with the app into the printer. So coming again from Bambu Lab, from using their MakerWorld app, to you're able to just simply, you know, print stuff from the app instead of using your computer, even though it's a lot better obviously doing it from the computer. Going to the new Obico app, trying to do the same thing with Sovol wasn't as friendly per se. So when I tried to print my very first mask, which was this Moon Knight mask that I found on the MakerWorld website, after trying to upload this mask to the Obico app or through the Obico app from my computer to the printer, I kept getting these errors where all of a sudden the printer connection was lost. I don't know what that means. Coming from my type of background, more things to figure out. So when it comes to the Obico app, to get support and solving these type of problems, you have to also download Discord. So I was able to get into the Discord channel and talk to someone there about what could be causing this issue. So the answer I got from after chatting with the IT rep on Discord was basically yes, that it is a high file. However, he directed me, because of the whole Moonraker thing, to check the log file for errors and the time when the file was uploaded. And along with that, he directed me to a website. When I went to that website, again, I was lost. I wasn't sure where to go, what to do, how to access that file. But I ended up just, let's just put that on the table. We'll deal with it later. Next thing I tried to print was this Bane mask that, again, I found on the MakerWorld website. And after uploading that into the Orca Slicer and sending it over using the Obico app, it started getting the same issues where all of a sudden the connection was lost, but then all of a sudden it went through. Had my hopes again on trying to upload and do this other print that I found of Red Hood from the MakerWorld website. Instead of uploading it through the cloud, whatnot, through the Obico app, decided to learn how to download the Gcode file and upload it through a USB. Again, I've never done that before. Was it hard to figure out? Of course not. Not hard at all. Kind of leads me into my next thing about the SV06 printer is a USB. That's all that it has, being a newer printer. No micro SD or SD card slot. I mean, I couldn't find if the printer does have it, I couldn't find it. I had to use the USB that came with the printer to upload the prints. So I thought I found the answer to that problem, when in reality, it led to more problems. So last night, I set up the printer and it looked like everything was going great. It recognized the Gcode file, it was printing great. I decided to go to bed and kind of see how it turned out in the morning.
2 hours later.
So after checking the Obico app, I noticed that the printer stopped. It paused for some reason. Apparently, the AI from the Obico app detected or thought it was detecting a flaw with the print, when all it was really detecting was just the support or an area of the support. I mean, it was fine. So I tried to unpause the print. I tried to make it go again. Connection lost. What? So, so I got out of bed, went to the printer, tried to press the play button to get it to print again, to resume. And nothing was happening. I don't know what was going on. And so I tried again to get it to go from the Obico app, from my laptop to my phone on the printer. tried to get it to resume. Nothing was happening. So I had to stop the print. And while a lot had not been printed, it still was frustrating that, again, another issue just happened. So I decided to reslice it, just make sure everything was okay, and upload it again, just to make sure nothing was wrong with that specific file, that Gcode. Because you might have uh, put something wrong in regards to the PLA, or you might have done something wrong with the plate design or whatnot. So after downloading the Gcode file into the USB, plugging it in, decided to turn off the feature on the Obico app where it pauses the print if it detects a flaw. But I decided to keep the AI thing going just because, it shouldn't, if it detects something, I can now easily identify if it's wrong or not and stop it myself. Well, you would think that would be the situation, when not so much. So after trying again to print the Red Hood mask, a few hours later, it all of a sudden paused. And I don't know why it paused, because again, I turned off that feature on the app for it to stop the print or to pause the print. It went through anyway and it paused the print. Once again, wasn't able to unpause it, wasn't able to resume it. I had to stop the print. So once again, after removing all of that wasted PLA off of the bed, I turned off not only the feature to pause, but I also turned off the AI altogether. So that way I could identify anything with the Obico app. I could still stream and monitor the print. So I thought everything was fine. This would solve the issue. We'll figure out why it's doing all of this later on. Not an hour and a half or 2 hours, not moments later, the print paused by itself. And I couldn't figure out why. The notifications I received from the Obico app didn't really say anything was wrong. It just paused the print, and that was it. Once again, I tried to get it to resume, and the Clipper software kept restarting. The printer kept disconnecting from the Obico app. It's triggering just talking about it. But so stopped it altogether. And then at that point, I had to leave the house to go run some errands. Of course, that was on my mind the entire afternoon. What the heck was happening? What was going on? So, doing some research, it might have been because the USB card or the USB that I received from Sovol might be the reason behind it. So I was able to format this external hard drive from SanDisk that I had, and again, I resliced the file, uploaded it into the SanDisk, and connected it, and it came through on the Sovol printer. So right now it's printing. I decided to just finish this video. So far, it's been fine. Nothing has nothing has stopped it yet. But again, it's only been maybe an hour or so into the print. Let me check it just to make sure.
1 minute, 37 seconds later.
All right. So far, it's printing fine. Hopefully, it's that issue with the SD card or the USB, and this will solve any type of issue where it comes to me trying to upload a Gcode into the USB over to the printer. However, this doesn't solve why I can't do this from my laptop over the cloud. Why I can't upload these high files, and they're not that high. They're only around like 200 megabytes. I mean, if that's an issue, then that's, I'll just do it the old-fashioned way. But it's a little frustrating that I can't do that I can't upload these high megabyte files of these masks over the cloud like you can on Bambu Labs. And I know this is not Bambu Labs. I know this is a different company. And even though I don't want to say you get what you paid for, this printer from Sovol is one of their newest top of the lines, just with all those features that I mentioned previously. So you would think that just with every new printer that comes out, that issues would be fixed, and they probably have. And I'm just running across some things on my own that need to be resolved. A couple of other things that I've had issues with the Sovol printer is just, it is a lot louder than the Bambu Labs. The fan is loud. The only way to turn off the fan is basically to turn off the printer, which, I guess is fine. No issue with that. The belts do squeak a lot. They do squeak really loud. There are ways to solve that, such as the cement block trick, where you can place the printer on a cement block, and there is a video for that, which I'll tag in the description below. But with tightening the belts and everything, it hasn't really solved the issue of the loud squeakiness from the belts. But I mean, it's fine. The room that I have my 3D printers in is far from the bedrooms, and so it's okay. For me, it's okay. Another issue that I found with the printer was the bed has a lot of issues when it comes to getting things to stick. So what I've found as a trick, just for the time being, is to use a glue stick that I found on Amazon from Bambu Labs, but also from just any generic glue stick that I've been purchasing. That was able to get my prints to stick. Would I recommend someone getting this type of printer? If you are looking for an inexpensive printer that has a large plate size to print those large files, those large prints, by all means, this printer is a great one to choose from. Can you print using multicolor like with the AMS, like you can with Bambu Labs? No, you can't, at least not yet. There are printers out there where you can with a large plate size. Obviously, Bambu Labs just came out with their own. But if you're not wanting to spend that much, other companies do have some available, but you are going to spend a lot just for that ability to print multicolor. However, I was fine with getting the Sovol printer with just printing one color. I'm fine with learning how to paint and all those things. I feel like that comes with 3D printing. So I'm eager for that journey. Was I excited to dive headfirst into the technical aspect of it? Yeah, I was. I know I'm ready, and I know I'm able to figure these things out, but it's a little frustrating when the road to figure these things out isn't simple, especially when these printers have been out for so long. Again, if you're not wanting that type of involvement, I highly recommend purchasing a Bambu Lab. If the plate size does not bother you, the A1 or the A1 Mini is a great starting point. That's the very first printer that I purchased, was the A1 with the AMS system. But if you don't care about printing with just one color, the A1 Mini, perfect. I would highly recommend, especially if you just want to do a plug and play type of situation with your 3D printer. I also do highly recommend getting the Obico app, just because you are able to monitor from the app and do all sorts of things. And the AI detection is actually pretty cool. I do feel like it has a long way to go, but I mean, so does everything. If you're new to 3D printing and you're getting the Sovol printer, highly recommend investing in the Obico app, just to get the ability to monitor and do things from your phone. And for those of you who have been 3D printing for years and watching this video, I'm sure you can either relate, maybe I have to bleed the blood of those who have been before me to fully understand the pain and suffering of 3D printing. So getting this printer, I get why people don't have nice things to say about, specific 3D printers out there that have been around for a while. I am very hopeful for this printer. I am really enjoying this hobby so far, and I cannot wait to get my hands even more dirty. It does take a lot of time, so it's a lot of patience and a lot of time. You just have to remind yourself it's also a lot of fun. If you have any suggestions, if you have other issues related to what I've been going through, or if you've come across any of these type of situations or other type of situations with the Sovol printer, just feel free to drop a comment. I would love to respond to any of that, especially if you have feedback on what could be better with this type of stuff. If you found this review interesting in any way, shape, or form, please feel free to like, follow, subscribe, all that fun stuff. And for more of these type of videos down the road. And with that, I'm Eric Sauer with Sweet and Sour 3D. I'll catch you in the next one.